Hello, hello everyone. I'm Milo. As you can see in the video, I've been training for around 3 years. It's kind of a documentation of my journey leading up to now. So pretty much, without further ado, we'll get into the video. Like I've been trading 3.5 years. When I first started trading, just like anyone, you don't really know exactly what you're doing, right? It's a part of life, right? Like with any skill you try to develop, when you first start off, you're not going to be good. Um, I didn't know that, but I did, you know, I took my time, learned the concepts and ideas, and then when I got comfortable enough, I started to put in my positions, try my best in the markets, and I actually did okay. I did okay within the first year. I did pretty good. But, you know, since I didn't have the experience, lost it pretty fast, right? Then a little bit of a spiral happened, after and during my second year, I kind of hopped strategies, uh, took strategies from other people that I didn't actually truly know how to execute myself. I just saw how they do it and thought, okay, I'll just do the same. Which, as you can see, led to absolutely nothing. Didn't lead to any results for that second year, which got me, I was in a pretty low state, I would say mentally. Um, And I did I stopped training for about 2 months. I took took a pretty big because I really had no direction and I just was not there mentally. But a buddy of mine, he called me and my best friend, and I did teach him like trading, how to trade the year prior, right? So he'd already have been trading for around a year, and he was telling me about how he was finding success and letting me know, and I was so happy for him. And then after I got to thinking, I was like, why haven't I been able to achieve that? Like what happened with me? And then I realized what happened in the beginning was when I didn't know much, I had a much simpler understanding of the markets. I didn't have 50 things I was thinking about at once, trying to execute all of them like at once. And once I understood that, then I started to think, what could get me back to that state of mind, right? What could get me back to that kind of person? And I realized I genuinely have to like reset. So I reset. I changed. I stopped treating those people's strategies from before, and then I locked myself in my room. And I said, Milo, you're gonna make a new strategy like the end of this week. Doesn't matter. You gotta do it. You're not leaving here until it's done. And so I was in here, working. I actually had me feeling like Iron Man, from the first movie. And I was like, okay, I'm not leaving here until I'm done. So as I was going through, as I was kind of understanding, putting it together piece by piece, I started to get, better understanding. Like I took the concepts I understood well, and that's kind of how I built the base of the system, right? And then kind of as I was going, so I did 6 months, a little trial run, kind of tested out, right? As I was going, I was refining, right? Little improvements. I wasn't doing a bunch of work every day. I was just doing incremental improvements every day and refining, right? Whenever I would see some gap in the system, I would just refine it. So I wouldn't change it. I would just make it a little better, a little more simpler. I focused on simplicity, like just keep it simple, stupid. And around the same time, I started listening to this guy named Mark Douglas. He's a famous trader, and he has like a couple really good books, one of them Trading in the Zone. And that's kind of that book pretty much makes you think in probabilities, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're trading, this is all probabilities. There's no guarantees you're going to win the trade. There's no guarantees. So understanding that, right? Taking that mentality, that new, like adopting that into my psychology. It took a minute, but I just tried. I tried every day to adopt that. And eventually it it became part of my psychology and I got a little better. And then that started to improve my journaling, my strategy. And then, I made some more improvements in my system. And then as a result, I started to see consistency, consistent results. Like, I would start going on some winning streaks, which was really nice. But that was a result not of me chasing results, but me chasing my system, right? Perfecting it, or at least improving on it, right? Because you can never be perfect in life, but you can always strive to be the best, or at least to try. Trying, that's all that matters. And if you try with intention and you're genuine and you really want to succeed, you will. I'm damn sure, like, you will succeed. But it's the only issue is it just takes time. You gotta understand you have to be patient. And patience truly is a virtue. You know, it takes time to really understand, and that is also a part of wisdom, right? So that's it was challenging, but I got through at least a part of it, and I'm still in the process of it. And I'm just getting there every day, 1% better. That's all I achieve. That's all I want. Just to improve. Because like in life, you live this life, and what I think from my perspective, I would just like to improve a little bit every day. Because imagine if you can improve even just a little bit every day, what type of person would you be in like 6 months from now? And the biggest thing that helped me with all this is perspective. Perspective, having a perspective where you always think, you don't think in positives and negatives, you just think in like kind of, as I say, like the gray. You know, when something happens to you, it's not good or bad, it's just an experience. It's just an experience. So understanding that in my personal life, right, outside of trading, right, that actually also helped me with trading because those psychologies, like you're when you're in the markets and then when you're out in the markets, it's really difficult. When I'm outside doing my day to day, subconsciously I do think about trading. And it's very difficult not to, especially if you have aspirations and goals and you really want to achieve something. That thing you want is always going to be in the back of your head. So I just try to figure out concepts that myself could adopt in my personal life, which could also kind of help bridge the psychological gap with my trading, which did take time. Of course, doesn't happen overnight. As I said, like, just do 1% improvements a day, and that is truly what's going to get you to where you want to be. And systems is a huge thing. That is the biggest thing that's helped me building a system. If you can build a good system, and what I mean by a system, something you follow every day, not necessarily, yeah, a routine, for example, could be a routine, but having a system where you're likely to succeed. Because as long as you follow it, you're going to get some type of result, which is better than no result. So, for example, the philosophy I developed was to do all the difficult things first in the day. When I wake up, I get ready, I go to work. I get my work because that's the worst thing. The worst thing for me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can and girls can agree to, starting off your day at work, work is the worst. Always. It's always the worst because you're working for someone else, right? You know, it's not you. Um, Getting through that, and then for me, after I would always go to the gym and then come here and trade, right? That's kind of how I would set my schedule. And then I'd have some things I'd also do in between. But those three things would always be in my daily routine. And that would always be a part of it. And that helped me a lot. I was able to kind of see success because I'm working on all these things every day. And my whole goal is just to at least improve 1% every day. And over time, it really does lead to success. Like, at least a form of success. And another quote, a friend of mine told me, like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Basically, like a lot of people you'll see will rush towards their goal. And you know what happens most of the time? They don't achieve it because they do too much too fast, outwork themselves, and then they burn out, and then that goal never gets achieved. But if you just do one thing every day, like a little thing, a part of it, like maybe you got like 100% goal, and if you do at least like 2% of it, within maybe like a 6 month period, like you will get, or a 5 month period, you'll get to that goal, right? Um, but it's difficult. It's easier said than done, of course. But what I've also found is, the person that loves the journey, right? The person that loves the journey, right? Not the destination, they'll always beat the person that loves the destination. Because when you're only thinking about the result, right? The destination, right? So the result of, okay, I wanna make $1 million, right? So you're only thinking about like the reason why you're doing this is because you want the $1 million, the end result. That that's not the way to do it, man. I swear. The person that loves the journey, right? That loves learning, that loves like, the process. That's the person that's actually going to achieve success. Because at the end of the day, if you just try to fast track everything, you're just going to end up seeing your life go by. You have to, like, the reason why we wake up and do what we do is because it's a part of the journey. The journey is what matters most in life, which is what I've also found with trading, right? I've succeeded the most by enjoying the process, the fascination, figuring out ways I can improve or even simplify the system, right? To make it at least somewhat easier for myself because I feel like majority of humans, the average person, right, thinks from more of a lazy state of mind rather than like smarter, think, be smarter and don't work as hard, which makes sense, right? It's a nice way to live. But you know I've learned that truly, at least for me, it does apply. You know, um, I I think I would have at least somewhat of a good work ethic, but I definitely realized over time that a good work ethic is just gonna lead you to more work, unfortunately. So understanding that it's very key, and you gotta ask yourself, what do you want for yourself? And even when I was young, I give a little background to me. When I was 13, I was always fascinated with like money and finance. So I always wanted to kind of do this from a young age, but it just took me time and eventually I got there. I got to learn all this stuff, but what matters most is if you're having fun, fun in life and enjoy life. That's the purpose of living. But also work to achieve something, you know? That's the beauty of life. Like just to always work towards something, working towards a goal that you and your heart truly want to achieve. That's why I'm making these videos, as a part, to journal for myself, but also for someone. If I could even help one person, that's what the goal of this is at the end of the day. And I hope, you like this video. And if you can take anything away from this, it's just always focus on the process. Process over result. And yeah, if you did like this video, please um like, comment. If you really like me, subscribe. Like, I don't know what else to say. I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you for watching the video, and please let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Just let me know. Without further ado, thank you again for listening to my video, and I hope to do this more. I plan on making hopefully weekly videos. So yeah, thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and yeah. Have a blessed one.